All right. Welcome to the God Awful Daily News. I am Craig Hamilton Bradley. In case I run for president. If you saw the picture of Marjorie Taylor Greene, it's true. They have identified her ancestral roots. She is apparently 50% Neanderthal, but that doesn't surprise anybody. If you haven't seen the cool stuff the Republican Party's been up to, this is what it means to be a Republican nowadays. Look at that. We got Steve Bannon and Elon Musk. What do you think they're doing there? Huh? Yeah, those are skinheads with hair. Also known as Republicans. Quick note: Dennis Richmond, who was this big star in the Bay Area news scene for a long time, passed away. And he sat at my table, and I met him like 2 years ago, right before the fire. And he was a very sweet man. So I just want to say, he will be missed. I watched a lot of news growing up in the San Francisco Bay Area, and he was on Channel 2, which eventually became Fox, which didn't become all polluted until, years later. But he was on the scene in the 70s, 80s, 90s. Anyway, so the Republican Party is the party of crime and disorder. It's a great way to identify, It's good to know how to identify in this world. If you haven't heard, California's got a new initiative that's probably going to make it on the ballot. Needs 500-something thousand. But Cal exit to secede from the Union, which is not a surprise considering how corrupt and awful and treacherous the current white inferiorist in the White House is, and all the idiots he's got around him, including those two guys right there doing the salute. That salute that was real popular in Germany in the 30s. Scary, isn't it? Oh, but I promise you this. It won't be but a minute before local boys are like, yeah, Hawaii, we should secede. Maybe we'll secede with California. That'd be a great country. Holy shit. To the two just amazing places on earth. Anyway, so I just want to thank Joe Biden, one of the greatest presidents in American history. Transformational. Our roads are so beautiful across the United States. Anyone who ever drove across the United States would understand what it is I'm talking about. I drove across the United States 6 times in the last 5 years, and I watched our American roads change from coast to coast, Maine to California, and here in Hawaii too. If petty Republicans could, they would go out and rip up those roads. But and he brought inflation down and unemployment down from 10 to 3% in both cases. Amazing, great job, Joe Biden. Inflation now is going up, crime is going up, job losses are going up. Joe Biden also produced 16 million jobs, more than double the number of jobs any president had ever done in history. Great job. We're just gonna have job losses under this current insurrectionist, seditionist traitor in the White House. And so the Department of Justice is under attack, right? They're firing people who would be stopping terrorist attacks, because that is how you sow chaos. And that's the goal here. They want chaos, and then they're going to declare martial law. They're going to say, we just had to do it because of all this chaos. Wasn't our fault. They'll blame it on the protesters and the rioters, who are eventually going to definitely be coming, when they already are, because of our heinously corrupt government. Doing incredibly offensive things. The Consumer Fraud Protection, the people Yes, I am up early because I'm supposed to be doing my homework that's due at 9 a.m. and I'm procrastinating. I'm calling this productive procrastination. That is a book I'm going to write someday. So yeah, all the people that protect us from like identity theft and stuff like that, you know, could see our banks stealing from us, things like that. They've all been they're all being fired. Um, they're trying to take 800 million out of Medicaid so they can give it to the billionaires. How's that? That's some. Those are some good policies. Those are some good values, huh? Um, they just fired a four-star general, chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff, C.Q. Brown, four-star general. He's a black guy, and they're racist, so they had to get him out because, you know, they're racist. And then they fired, of course, they hate women. They can't be good at shit, so they fired Lisa Franchetti, naval admiral, right? They just fired the one woman and the one black man that had high positions in our military. Yeah, because they're just shitty people. Joy Reid got fired probably because she's been talking about all the people who've died in Palestine, in Gaza. That's the narrative I've heard. That's probably most likely. The buyout. Trump and the traders in Washington are trying to destroy our national government by offering every 2.3 million employee, you know, the offer to quit, and that is not smart. Like, that includes the FAA, the TSA. You want to get through the airport? Do you want to not get in a plane crash? Which is killing people, right? The farmers are losing their farms because while food rots on a dock that should be feeding someone who is starving. I mean, also that Elon Musk can get a bigger tax break. And how much of an insult would it be if you're one of these federal employees that got fired and you're told, oh, we're going to send you out a check for $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 because of the money we saved not paying you your salary. That's not saving, and that's not doing the American people any help. The food program that I get food from after the fire is being cut. So it is actually affecting me a little bit. I've really been enjoying that food, the Maui Nui venison and local bok choy that the community college gives me as a student. Anyway, that program is being cut, and that girl's getting laid off. So I'm hoping to do an interview with her, maybe some podcasts. Jasmine Crockett is my hero. If you don't know who she is, you should. She holds truth to power. She is probably one of the smartest people and the most savvy lawyers in all of Congress. And oh, it is just so great to hear her speak and fight for democracy. My God, how is it that she resembles common sense, and then these idiots who claim to have common sense, which is just a corruption of the word, obviously, are so far that no one today. She just asked him, "Can you admit that Russia?" It's like, "Can you admit that Trump lost?" And they can't do it. "Can you admit that Russia invaded Ukraine and Republicans didn't want to admit that the obvious truth because they're trying to change the obvious truth, which is super sad and super weird. And why?" And anyway, yeah, Ukraine was invaded by Russia. They built up troops for a year on their border, and then they invaded. They thought they were just going to roll in there in 3 days, take over the country, subjugate them, destroy all Ukrainian identity. And Ukrainians ain't having that. So, yeah, that's just one of the many ways that we are betraying. Our government is betraying the American people and our allies around the world. Governor Pritzker gave a very inspirational speech, and he pointed out that it only took 53 days for Hitler to destroy the democracy that was in Germany. And President Evil is doing his best to do the same thing. And if it ain't obvious, it should be. If it ain't obvious, It should be. Look at those two guys doing their little sig how. Oh, it's just great, isn't it? Oh, jeez. Oh, that's what I need. There we go. Look at that. Pretty impressive, huh? That's your Republican Party. I remember when Republicans used to be like proud of winning World War II, proud of defeating the Nazis, and now they are them. That is just so weird and so stupid. And I mean, and they're trying to sell this, and some people are dumb enough to buy it. It's amazing. All right. Um, yeah, Trump's just doing one unconstitutional thing after another. The Republican traitors try to rewrite history. Oh, it's amazing. I guess the big question is, how many people will Trump kill? Right? With his stupidity, saying, "Hey, sun's gonna come out. Sun's gonna cure COVID." Like, how many people died because of his negligence in COVID? And already we know now. Immediately in office, he cut off aid that people are dying from, that were dependent upon that aid around the world. He's taking food out of starving people's mouths so that a few billionaires could get some tax breaks in corporations. It's pretty gross, and it should offend everybody. And how about Elon Musk, the felon Musk? He should be locked up. He should be deported. We should tax him 90%. We should strip him of all his money and use it to pay for health care. That would make sense. We could fund all these organizations by just taxing him. And we could expand them and do more for people. But he called the USAID workers worms, right? What a douchebag. The biggest worm on the planet, of course, is projecting that onto others. So sad. And all in a pursuit to become cool with some people in some club, to feel like he's part of something. And it's so sad when these Republicans think like they're part of something that's bigger than themselves, when it's all Nazi, Russian. Oh, and is Trump a Russian asset? That's a big question being asked. It will make sense in the 80s that Putin and the Russians would have done that, right? Because that's the big game. He was over there. His first wife is Russian. His third wife is from part of what used to be the Soviet Union. They could all have been plants and working. And imagine when the president-elect term, all those documents in Mar-a-Lago, right? Like, if you're a Russian asset and you've got 500, top secret documents at your house, man, you make the best spy ever. And now we got a spy in the White House, and that's what Putin has over him, probably, right? It's probably the case that Putin has that over him, and he can't. So Putin owns him, because if Putin were to just tell everybody, "Oh, he's been working for me for the last 35 years," probably wouldn't go over well. At least hopefully it wouldn't. But of course, there'd be some dumb Republicans that still follow that shit. I love these just pussies, and it's showing up in the universities. Don't fear. Don't talk about politics. Afraid to talk about politics. No, we need to talk about politics. You need to vote for women's protections and for women's rights and for the environment and for our safety. It's crazy, right? So yeah, it's just sad seeing that everyone's afraid to talk about it. I ain't afraid to talk about it. I'm quite worried about it, and it's quite therapeutic for me to talk about it. So that's why I got to do this. This is as much I'm doing this news show for me as much as I am for you. Here's a funny thing. This is a diversion. If you haven't seen interesting things on YouTube that you can't look away from, like the pimple popping. Man, this week I discovered these doctors go into people's ears with this little vacuum cleaner and suck out all the wax. And man, it's hard to look away from them. And it's funny. I laugh at myself watching earwax removal. Anyway, that's this week's weird thing I watch on YouTube. It's funny because not all Republicans are in the Ku Klux Klan. And not all Republicans identify with Hitler. But all the people that identify with Hitler, they are all Republicans. All the people in the Ku Klux Klan, 100% of them, they are all Republicans. So that's true. Again, if I need to figure out who I should align myself with, I just have to look at who the KKK endorses, and then it's not them. In this case, it's everyone in the White House and in leadership roles in Congress. My favorites. So one of my favorites just became the #1 podcast, Midas Touch. I love how they just constantly put out stuff. And then, if you haven't seen it, there's these ladies that are killing it. I've Had It. These two beautiful, funny ladies on the show called I've Had It. And then there's these beautiful, funny ladies on this whole network, I guess, called Hysteria. And all the shows are cool, and it's all women who are smart, attractive, wonderful, family women, and funny, and they speak truth to power, right? It's amazing how many of the bravest among us are women. So many in the U.S. are so brave. They do all the bravest shit, and they're the most vulnerable. It's truly inspiring. So thanks, ladies. Then, of course, there's Brian Tyler Cohen. That guy kicks ass. And Jesse Dollamore, he just made 1 million viewers. That's exciting. So here's a little something to explain what affected Trump's brain that explains his ignorance and his desire to punish countries with tariffs. So his brain was formed by watching a lot of TV and news on TV. He's been a news hound his whole life, and so have I. And I started my news addiction when I was like 5 or 6 years old with a presidential campaign, because it was so interesting and it was on in the house. And the competition for a winner it draws us in, whatever that competition is. And so, and I watched in the news, dominant in the news, were these constant reports in the late 70s and all through the 80s and some of the 90s, daily reports about the trade deficit, how much countries were getting over it, making us feel like we were getting taken advantage of by countries that were selling us more stuff than we were selling them, as if there was something wrong with that. And free market economics, if you don't understand it, the simple idea is that if you do what you do best and you sell what you make and do best to the countries that sell and do what they make best, the whole world moves towards efficiency. Everyone's prices for everything goes down. Everyone gets richer. It's a simple concept. Anyway, it's not something to necessarily fear, although there might be practical purposes for tariffs in some cases. Nevertheless, that's what explains, I think, his weird dementia when it comes to tariffs and wanting to punish other countries, is the nearly 2 decades of just constant discussion of trade imbalances, which really never amounted to anything. And they don't even talk about that in the business news, in news in general at all anymore. It's not really an issue. So now here's something that no one is reporting on because it hasn't been reported on yet, because it probably hasn't been sussed out yet. But I promise you it's gonna be, and this is what is happening. This evil government that we have in place now is totally weaponized against the people in every imaginable way, and they have evil tactics. They are using, I don't know if you've seen it, but Ronan Farrow, who is Mia Farrow's son, who is Frank Sinatra's son, quite obviously, because he looks just like Frank, a handsome fella. And he is an amazing journalist as well. And he has sussed out this Pegasus, this awful software that Peter Thiel of Palantir has sells to governments to spy on people and journalists, and I think, and now immigrants in our country, and anyone else they want to spy on. They're using this phone invasive spy software that Peter Thiel owns the company that makes it. in addition to all the other surveillance, the flock surveillance, and all the other things. But AI is going to be using all that, and so that's why these poor deportation targets are just so easy to find, because they've got this phone that's being tracked. And I think there needs to be somebody who sells those containers that make your phone untrackable, most of the time. I think someone should sell a lot of those right now, because I think most of us are going to want that. I don't think any of us. I mean, eventually, after they lock up all the more popular people, they're going to come for everybody. They'll probably try to lock me up. I probably shouldn't be doing this, right? Because they're going to come and try to lock me up because I want to use my First Amendment right, because I want to speak. Anyway, that's a little future news here. You're going to hear about the spy software they're using to do all their evil shit. And on a local level, I was flying here back from visiting my daughter on. She's going to school. She's getting straight A's. It's pretty exciting. And I flew back next to a guy who was just the sweetest man ever. And he sounded like the most boring job ever, but he worked for the USDA inspecting meat in slaughterhouses, making sure we don't die and that they have a clean facility, and that the cows aren't sick. And he was on the flight. He said that this position they were trying to fill on Molokai for a long time, and but the government had helped him out. They figured out a place for him to stay. He had someone. His landlady was going to pick him up because she's an auntie on Molokai, and she's going to pick him up at the airport and take him to his place. I think he might have shipped his car already, right? And he started that new job of his a month ago, and there's a good chance he was just fired, which is just so sad, because of course we need people like that, and he was such a good guy and invested his whole life in coming to Molokai to do this public service. So I don't need to know that he got fired to know that he got fired, or that he's on the chopping block like all the federal employees. How stupid is it? I mean, okay, and then all the people that are just, you're going to weaponize these people against you, you stupid Republicans. All right, think about it, man. Okay, 30% of all the 2.5 million federal workers are veterans. Some of them are former snipers. You're firing FBI and CIA operatives who've probably killed people before, right? Scary. I wouldn't want them. They're firing a lot of people with really certain sets of skills, including just wildly, amazingly good and potentially vicious lawyers and legal savvy experts and scientists. And I mean, the list of scorned farmers that are scorned. I mean, I just can't imagine. And of course, but that's what they want. They want the resistance. They want the chaos. And then they want to have to crush that chaos. And that's where we're headed, because that's where they want to take us. So they're just going to keep pushing on us, destroying everything and anything they can that's good or is just or fair or legal. And then as soon as we try to stop them, the military is going to be called out against us. Now, one of the most heinous things Trump just did, of all there's so many heinous things, but including the new director, the Dan Bongino, a guy who just obviously can't grow a head of hair, and who really must have so many insecurities, but he never worked for the FBI, and now he's the director of the FBI. It's just the dumbest shit ever. But Trump just fired there's 3 or 4 big attorneys, JAG attorneys, that are the only people that can advise our military on what is a legal way to use our military authority and not. They're the only people that can tell a general or a president that the orders are unlawful, right? They have that power. And it's all part of our checks and balances. right? They're the people that would stop the military from being weaponized against us in our country. And right now it's illegal for our military to be working on American soil against us. And those guys are all gone. So he fired them all, right? All these just great people have worked very hard, dedicated their entire lives to this country. The most patriotic, dedicated American servants we could possibly disrespect. We're completely we're kicking them right in the genitals. And these people, some of them are going to be homeless. They're moving in their truck. They're going to be moving into their truck with their sniper rifle. I'm just saying, like, maybe you should have kept these people employed. A bunch of, the guy from Taken, a bunch of guys with certain sets of skills that you don't want against you. Anyway, I will not be surprised at anything that happens from any of those people. Not to mention the biggest threat are all the Trump supporters and their children, who are the ones who tried to kill Trump and who perpetrated all the mass shootings. So, yeah. Gee whiz heck, son of a gun. I tell you what, I think I went through my whole list here. Tried to make a list. Time is it? 26 minutes. All right, not too long. I'm going to try to, push it down, condense it, try to inform you as much as I can and give you my 3 cents about it. Yeah, every day the Trump goons are going to do worse shit than the day before, and it's all going to be terrible. And they're going to keep raising the bar of horrible, worse, the worstest, the most horriblest. That's what they're going to do. So I can promise you, the news every day is going to be god awful. So, yeah, I need to speak out, just like all of us. I am the resistance. I am the resistance. Oh my God, I just can't imagine. Oh, and I feel sorry for the people that associate themselves with this. That associate themselves with this? Is this who you want to be? Oh my God, a bunch of dirty, disgusting, low-down, deplorable, derelict traitors. Insurrectionists, seditionists, gross. And just downright stupid. No moral compass. No patriotism. I mean, just abject douchebags. And that is who's running shit. Oh, let's see, 4. So I got 5, 6, 7, 8. I got 4, 3 hours to do my homework. And I'm afraid to do it because I don't know how. And it's scary. It's video editing and I don't know what I'm doing. And so I'm going to start watching a tutorial and see if I can do my homework. I might have to take a W in this class and redo it next semester. As of right now, I have a 3.85 GPA. Oh, and I found out when I move all my credits from my previous education over to here, they ain't going to look at that GPA. They're only going to go on this GPA, but they're going to take those credits and plug them in, which is cool because before I had a 2.97 at Santa Rosa Junior College. If you're wondering why I'm so smart, it's because I'm a proud graduate of Santa Rosa Junior College. It is one of the greatest junior colleges in America. So that means something. If you're from Santa Rosa, that you nod your head, oh yeah, well that would make sense. So, yeah, do no harm, do no crime. Thanks for watching All Good Things and All Good Time. Hey, my funny friend Tam, aloha. This is my new news show that you recommended I should do. So I'm doing it, and it seems to be therapeutic. The god-awful news. Oh, by the way, in 4 years, if Republicans aren't still committing their reign of domestic terrorism on our country and the world, and if we're all still alive, hopefully there'll be different people in office, and my news channel will change to the All Good News, because it'll be all good news if we're still alive in 4 years. And I pray, Midas Touch dominating the podcast world more than Joe Rogan is a great positive sign for the future. I think maybe people are wanting to not be stupid no more. I have to assume some of the people watching them are conservative morons that are trying to be less moronic, and might come around finally and realize they should apologize to everyone they ever knew that has an IQ over 80, and say they'll never do it again. I'll never be that stupid again. Sorry for being easily conned by a dumbass trader. I mean, holy shit. A trust funder, never worked a day in his life. Anyway, all right, let's see. I think I covered all this up. And those are some provocative questions, huh? I tell you what. Yeah, oh man, they're about to try to cut $1 trillion in services for the healthcare and oh god, what was the other one? Healthcare and child services, right? Cutting those free meals out for children so that the richest people in our country can feast. How is this okay with Republican dipshits? I just don't know. Anyway, hopefully we'll have less of that moving forward. And God bless America. Hope y'all have a great day. It's a great day to have a great day. It's a great day to be alive. And I'll see you tomorrow on another episode of the God Awful Daily News with Craig Hamilton Bradley, in case I run for president. Okay, hit this button, hit that button.